Nobody was ready for the folder. The cameras were already rolling, the studio lights blazing hot, when Gavin Newsom reached under the podium and pulled out a thick, red-tabbed file. The audience thought it was just another prop, until the room went silent and the producers in the control booth started yelling into their headsets. "Is that new? Those pages weren't in rehearsal. Zoom in, zoom in." Newsom didn't look at the cameras. He looked straight down the lens as if he were staring into living rooms across America. "Tonight," he said, voice low but unshakably clear, "we're not dealing in slogans. We're dealing in receipts." He flipped the folder open. The microphones picked up the crackle of paper. On the giant screen behind him, a blown-up email thread appeared, names blurred, dates not. "These are internal communications," he continued, "from senior figures in Donald Trump's orbit. Regarding an illegal immigrant case they desperately hoped would never see daylight." The moderator stiffened. The audience leaned forward as one. "In these messages," Newsom said, "we see pressure. We see interference. And we see a pattern of putting politics ahead of justice." He let that hang. Somewhere in Florida, Trump's team was watching in real time. One aide reportedly whispered, "Turn it off." Another, pale, whispered back, "We can't. Everyone's seeing this." On social media, the clip hit like a meteor. Newsom drops secret file live. Trump illegal immigrant scandal? The hashtags multiplied before Newsom even read the first line. "Americans deserve to know," he said. Who knew what? And why nothing was done? The room felt smaller. Tighter. Not a debate stage anymore. A courtroom. With the entire country watching, backstage, Trump's communications team looked like a command center hit by an unexpected missile. Phones vibrated non-stop. Staffers snapped at each other, voices cracking under pressure. "Who leaked that file? That can't be real. Cross-check the dates, now." One aide, trembling, held her tablet closer. "Sir. Newsom isn't bluffing. These email headers match internal layouts. Someone inside gave him access." Trump, sitting stiff in a leather chair, didn't blink. His jaw tightened, just enough for the room to feel it. "He wants a circus," Trump muttered. "We don't give him the applause." But the damage was already spreading. Newsom raised another page toward the cameras. "This email," he said, "details a direct request to delay further review until after the election cycle. That's not law enforcement. That's political interference." Gasps rippled across the room. The moderator shifted in his seat. Trump leaned forward, squinting like he was preparing to strike back. "That's taken out of context," Trump snapped. "You're twisting." "Then explain the context," Newsom fired back, calm and surgical. Trump opened his hands, as if ready to deliver the classic Trump counterpunch, but the audience wasn't with him tonight. Not yet. They wanted answers. They could feel the weight of what they'd just heard. On Twitter, trending lists reshuffled in seconds. Hashtag Newsom files. Hashtag Trump cornered. Hashtag illegal immigrant scandal. Cable networks cut into live programming. Producers barked orders. Get legal analysts on standby. Find anyone who worked on immigration during Trump's term. Replay that clip, again. Trump straightened his shoulders, trying to reclaim dominance. "Gavin," he said, smirking, "you're waving around papers like a kid doing book reports. America knows a stunt when they see one." But the smirk didn't land. Because Newsom wasn't smiling. And the audience wasn't laughing. He leaned closer to the mic. "A stunt," he said quietly. "Tell that to the families hurt because someone decided political optics mattered more than justice." Suddenly, the cheers vanished. The debate had become something else entirely. A reckoning. Newsom didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The quiet was louder than any attack he could have launched. He slid one final document from the folder, this one thinner, marked with a handwritten note on the corner. The camera operator zoomed instinctively, even he sensed something was about to break. "This," Newsom said, tapping the page, "is the part your team hoped no one would ever see." Trump shifted. Just slightly. But enough. The screen behind them lit up with a memo timestamped 2:14 a.m. A late-night directive. Short. Cold. Clear. Postpone public disclosure. Potential backlash, high. Wait for administrative clearance. Do not escalate. Trump leaned forward, squinting. "I've never seen that memo." "Oh, you have," Newsom replied. "You just didn't think the public ever would." The room froze. Even the moderator exhaled like he'd been holding his breath since the file came out. Trump tried a laugh, sharp, forced. "This is fake. Another Newsom hoax. You people will do anything to distract from your own failures." But the crowd wasn't buying it. People in the audience exchanged looks, not political looks, but human ones. Like something wasn't adding up. Newsom continued. "You asked why I brought this file." He held it up higher. "Because while you were attacking mayors, governors, immigrants, journalists, this," he said, shaking the folder slightly, "was sitting on a desk collecting dust." He glanced at the audience. "Someone inside your own operation couldn't live with it anymore." Trump's eyes flickered, just for a second. Annoyance? Fear? Recognition? No one knew. But everyone saw it. The moderator stepped in, voice cracking. "Governor Newsom, are you implying a whistleblower?" "I'm not implying anything," Newsom said. "I'm telling the American people exactly what they deserve to know. Someone on the inside decided truth mattered more than loyalty." The room erupted. Not with applause. With noise. Shouts. Gasps. Chairs scraping. Trump slammed a hand onto the podium. "You're lying." But Newsom stayed still. "Then prove me wrong." Silence fell again. Because Trump couldn't. Not tonight. Not with 40 million people watching. The stage lights suddenly felt hotter. Trump tugged at his collar, trying to keep his trademark confidence intact, but the pressure was visible now, small tells, tiny fractures. Newsom closed the folder and set it gently on the podium, like the evidence could speak for itself. "Mr. President," he said calmly, "this isn't about politics. This is about accountability." Trump fired back instantly. "Accountability? You're lecturing me? You let your entire state collapse. Don't act righteous." But the attack didn't land. Not tonight. The audience wasn't reacting to insults anymore. They were waiting, watching, to see if Trump could explain the memo, the emails, the whistleblower. Newsom kept going, controlled and precise. "You can attack me," he said, "and you can spin the narrative. But the facts won't move. They won't disappear just because you shout at them." Trump pointed across the stage. "That memo doesn't mean anything. You don't know what you're reading." "Then enlighten us," Newsom replied. "Walk America through it. Right now. Line by line." The challenge hit like a hammer. Trump hesitated. The room felt the pause. Producers backstage felt it. Social media felt it. Hashtags erupted again. Hashtag Trump stalled. Hashtag Newsom challenge. Hashtag explain the memo. Trump shifted his stance, trying to recover. "You think you're clever, Gavin. You're not. The American people see through this act. They know when someone is grandstanding." Newsom smiled softly. No grandstanding. Just reading. The moderator attempted to intervene, but Trump cut him off. You don't get to accuse me of hiding something. I've done more for this country than you ever will. And yet, Newsom said quietly, a single memo has you this rattled. Boom. The crowd reacted instantly, whispers, gasps, murmurs. Trump's face reddened, but he couldn't find the next line. The rehearsed attacks, the practiced comebacks, they weren't built for this moment. For the first time all night, Trump looked unsure. And America saw it. Newsom sensed the shift, the moment when the room no longer belonged to Trump. So he pressed forward. There's one more thing America deserves to know, he said. That memo? It didn't reach me by accident. Trump's head jerked up. What's that supposed to mean? Newsom held the audience with his eyes. It means someone inside your operation chose the country over you. A wave of murmurs rolled across the crowd. Cameras zoomed in. Trump stiffened, shoulders squared like he was bracing for impact. Newsom continued, voice steady. A whistleblower stepped forward. Someone who witnessed the delay, the pressure, the conversations about burying the case. Someone who couldn't stomach it anymore. Trump slammed a hand on the podium. There is no whistleblower. That's a lie. But his voice cracked. Everyone heard it. Newsom didn't blink. They risked their career to expose what happened. And unlike your inner circle, they weren't afraid of the truth. Backstage, Trump's advisors scrambled. Do we know who he's talking about? No. But he's too confident. He's got something real. On Twitter, a new hashtag exploded. Hashtag who is the whistleblower? Meanwhile, Trump tried to laugh it off, forced, hollow. This is pathetic, Gavin. You're inventing fantasies to distract from your own failures. Newsom stepped closer to the mic, lowering his voice. Then answer one question, Donald. If there's no whistleblower, how did I get your internal memo? Silence. Trump's mouth opened, then closed. No answer. No comeback. Just the weight of a question he hadn't rehearsed for. Newsom didn't gloat. He didn't smirk. He simply said. Someone inside thought justice mattered more than your ego. The audience erupted, not cheers, but shock. Gasps. People grabbing phones. Trump looked around the stage like it had turned against him. And maybe it had. Because for the first time in a long time, Trump wasn't controlling the narrative. Newsom was. Trump finally snapped back into motion, gripping the edges of his podium like he was trying to anchor himself. The room had slipped from his control, and he knew it. Everyone knew it. He leaned toward his mic. You want a whistleblower? Fine. Name them. Right now. If what you're saying is real, prove it. The demand boomed across the hall. Newsom didn't even blink. I won't expose someone who came forward in good faith, he replied calmly. Unlike your circle, I don't punish people for telling the truth. The crowd murmured again, this time heavier, more tense. Trump pointed at Newsom, jabbing the air. Convenient. Very convenient. You make claims you can't back up, and then you hide behind imaginary sources. Newsom lifted the memo between two fingers. This, he said, backs it up. Trump scoffed loudly. It's a draft. Nobody wrote it. It means nothing. Newsom tilted his head slightly. Then why was it marked hold until after election cycle? And why were senior advisors copied on it? Trump froze, but only for half a second. Long enough for every camera in the room to catch the flicker. He tried to pivot. You know what? This proves nothing except one thing, you're desperate. Desperate to distract from your record, desperate to paint me as some villain while your own state collapses. Newsom didn't raise his voice. Donald, I didn't write your emails. I didn't create your memo. I didn't force someone inside your operation to come forward. That was all, you. Trump's chest rose and fell faster now. You think the American people fall for this garbage? Newsom kept his eyes locked on him. I think the American people know authenticity when they see it. And tonight, they're seeing which one of us is telling the truth. That hit hard. The audience could feel it. A blow not shouted, delivered softly, surgically. Trump stepped back from the podium, almost instinctively, like he needed space to breathe. Meanwhile, the moderator, pale and sweating, whispered into his mic. We need to move to the next question. But there was no next question. The moment had swallowed everything else. Trump tried one last line. You're going to regret this, Gavin. Newsom simply answered. Not as much as the families who suffered because that memo sat in silence. The room went dead quiet. Like everyone had just witnessed the turning point of the night. Maybe even the whole election. Newsom sensed the silence tightening around the room, and he stepped into it like a man who finally had the floor he'd been denied for years. There's something you're forgetting, Donald, he said. This isn't about memos or leaks. It's about real people. Trump rolled his eyes, but the audience leaned in. Newsom continued. 2 months before that memo was written, a family in Arizona filed 3 urgent requests for review. Their daughter, 9 years old, was injured by someone who should have been flagged. But the system didn't respond. Why? Because the case was delayed. Trump shook his head violently. Fake story. Made-up tragedy. You're unbelievable. But Newsom didn't stop. Their letter was attached to the blocked file. You didn't see it because it never reached you. It died under the same directive you're dismissing right now. Trump's face went still. Newsom held up a photocopied page, a simple handwritten letter in a child's uneven print. The headline camera zoomed so tight the audience could see the pencil marks. My mom says you can help us. The room cracked open emotionally. People gasped. Some covered their mouths. Even the moderator blinked too fast. Trump snapped, You don't get to weaponize children. I'm not weaponizing anything, Newsom said sharply. I'm showing America what your memo cost. Trump tried again, louder. This is dishonest. Manipulative. But the crowd wasn't with him. Not after seeing that letter. Newsom lowered the page slowly. You can deny every email. Every memo. Every person who comes forward. But you can't deny her. Not tonight. Trump opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Social media detonated. Hashtag the letter. Hashtag memogate. Hashtag Trump cornered again. Newsom finished with a quiet force that hit harder than any shout. You buried paperwork, Donald. But you didn't bury the consequences. The stage lights flickered as if even they felt the weight. For the first time all night. Trump looked small. Trump finally snapped. He stepped forward, jabbing a finger toward Newsom, voice booming through the hall. You're lying. That memo wasn't approved by me, wasn't seen by me, and wasn't authorized. You hear me? Not authorized. It was loud. It was raw. And it was a mistake. Because the moment he yelled, not authorized, Newsom lifted his eyes, slowly, like a man who had just heard exactly what he was waiting for. Thank you, Newsom said quietly. Trump blinked. For the first time, he looked confused. Newsom reached into the folder again and pulled out one last page, thin, stamped, unmistakable. He held it up just enough for the cameras to focus. This, he said, is the verification slip from your Office of Administrative Review. The memo was authorized. Signed off. Processed. Logged. The crowd reacted instantly, gasps, shock, someone whispering, "Oh my God." Trump lurched forward. "That's fake. I never signed." Newsom cut him off, calm and surgical. "You didn't sign it. Your acting deputy did. Under your directive." Trump froze. Newsom laid the document flat on the podium like a final card in a winning hand. "You just told America you never saw it," he said. "That means either your own administration was operating without your knowledge, or you lied." A silence so thick it felt physical fell across the room. Trump opened his mouth, but Newsom wasn't done. "Which one is it, Donald? Were you unaware? Or dishonest?" Camera flashes exploded like lightning. The moderator went pale. The audience stared at Trump, waiting, actually waiting, for his answer. Trump stumbled over the first words, catching himself, shaking his head like he could reset the moment. "You don't understand how federal review works." Newsom stepped forward. "I understand that a child begged your administration for help. I understand that a directive delayed justice. And I understand that tonight, you contradicted your own paperwork." Boom. The control room erupted. "Replay that." He walked right into it. "Cut a clip, now." Trump tried one last counterpunch. "You're twisting everything." But Newsom leaned in just slightly. "No. I'm holding up a mirror." The audience didn't cheer. They didn't boo. They just stared. Because everyone knew. This was the moment the night flipped for good. Before Trump could recover, the moderator's earpiece crackled so loudly the front row heard it. "Emergency update, networks are cutting to legal analysts after this segment. Stay on the moment. Do not move on." It was already happening. Cable news split-screened the debate in real time. Social media plastered freeze frames of Trump's stunned expression. And in the backstage hallway, campaign staff sprinted like a fire alarm had gone off. Meanwhile, on stage, Trump tried to regain control. "You think one memo destroys me? You think voters care about bureaucratic paperwork? They care about results." Newsom didn't flinch. "They care about honesty. They care about leadership. And tonight, they're seeing which one of us can tell the truth without yelling." The audience murmured again, this time not in fear, but recognition. Trump pointed, voice cracking. "You don't speak for America." Newsom nodded slightly, almost sympathetic. "No. But America is speaking right now." Instantly, phones lit up across the auditorium. Vibration after vibration, notifications, alerts, trending tags, breaking news banners. A man in the third row whispered, "Holy hell. The stock market futures just dipped." A woman beside him muttered, "This is bigger than a debate." Then came the message that reached Trump's advisors like a lightning strike. 3 senators requesting immediate clarification from Trump's office. Press waiting. Do we deny authorization or confirm? They didn't have an answer. Because Trump didn't have one. On stage, Newsom leaned into the mic. "You've built your career on calling people weak, incompetent, dishonest. But tonight, for the first time, the paperwork fought back." Trump's face flushed deeper. That memo wasn't important. It wasn't a priority. Newsom raised his eyebrows. "Exactly. And that's the problem." Boom. Another gut punch. The moderator tried again to move on, but the crowd was too charged, the moment too heavy. This wasn't a debate anymore, it was an unraveling. A producer backstage whispered. "He won't recover from this clip. It's over." Another replied. "It's not over. It's just beginning." Because as the cameras zoomed in for the final close-up, Trump wasn't looking at Newsom anymore. He was looking at the folder. Like it might still contain something worse. Debate ended, but the fallout began instantly. As the closing music played, phones buzzed across the auditorium like a swarm. Newsom stepped away from his podium calmly, while Trump stayed frozen for a moment, staring at the memo he had just denied on live TV. Cameras kept rolling even after the broadcast cut, capturing Trump waving off his staff, snapping, "Find out who leaked it." His voice echoed across the stage, trembling with anger. Meanwhile, Newsom walked through the backstage hallway as reporters crowded him. "Governor, do you believe this ends Trump's campaign?" He didn't slow down. "That's up to the American people," he said. "I just showed them the truth." That one line became the headline of the night. Within minutes, a 17-second clip of Trump contradicting his own paperwork exploded online. Overlays, slow-mos, blown-up facial reactions, it was everywhere. Commentators from both parties chimed in, some called it a political disaster, others a moment of reckoning. A legal analyst on prime time put it bluntly, "You cannot deny a document that's already verified. This will haunt him." By midnight, hashtags hit millions of posts. Newsom's calm stare became a meme. Trump's stunned silence became another. Campaign donors, staffers, even foreign outlets released statements faster than analysts could process them. One line from the clip echoed louder than the rest. "Were you unaware, or dishonest?" Americans replayed that question again and again, not because Newsom asked it, but because Trump never answered.